the structure, the way it sits right now, it would be like somebody walking into a brick wall.
The City of Toronto is calling this accessibility ramp a roadblock for pedestrians. Signs Restaurant put it up 2 weeks ago after being denied a permit because a ramp would encroach on public property. They have now been served a notice of violation and instructions to remove it immediately.
It blocks the passage for pedestrians and it poses an immediate hazard for people with disabilities, especially visual disabilities, walking down Yonge Street.
Accessibility advocate and lawyer David Lepofsky, who's blind, says many sidewalks are already cluttered with obstacles like bike racks and garbage cans. The ramp would be the least of his worries.
I think it's great if the city is concerned about making sidewalks accessible for us, but they shouldn't play us off against people in wheelchairs. We all need accessibility, and there's enough clearance here that I can get by.
The restaurant's property ends right about here, which means that only about 2 feet of this ramp is actually on city sidewalk. But adding to the problem, opposite the ramp, there are 2 mailboxes, which take up about another 2.5 feet of the sidewalk. And that leaves just about 6.5 feet for people to get by.
The mailboxes themselves, I mean, they've been there for quite a number of years. And definitely that's something that we could engage with the federal government and request that they move it over. However, the ramp itself is what our concern is.
Signs employs mostly deaf servers and prides itself on giving opportunities to those with disabilities. But given their unique stance, the city won't budge on their decision unless the restaurant has exhausted all other options, including modifying their entrance. The restaurant says that will cost too much. They fear if their ramp is taken away, they'll have to bring in customers with mobility issues through the kitchen door.
You know, the guest has to call, and when they call, are you accessible? Well, we are, sort of, but it's through the back door.
And no one wants to enter through this door, right?
No, it's not it's a back alley. Who wants to come into a restaurant through a back alley? We are going to stand our ground. We are all about full inclusion, and we're not going to stop here.
And because this ramp has already been deemed a hazard, the city tells me that they will not be handing out any further notices. If an inspector shows up and finds that the ramp is still up, well, then it could go to the courts, which would then decide on the penalties, and the city would come in and remove it themselves. Live at Yonge and Wellesley, I'm Tracy Tong.